Right, I just thought I'd make this quick video to show you how the tank works, but also to show you the sort of noise that's generated by the pumps. Mainly it's this sequence one that's producing most of the noise there. It's got quite a hum to it, so it might need a bit of a service, but it's optional, that pump, because that does the circulation of water, and you may well decide that inside you can put some power heads in to circulate the water instead. But if I just turn off that sequence pump, then you get an idea of the sort of noise that that one made. And just behind it, you've got the main pump that pumps the water from the sump. It gets sucked up through that pipe just under there, not the green one, but that one there, that travels into the Eheim pump and then goes up around the back just here, and then is pumped into the tank, so you can see the water flowing there. Now the water, as it fills up, goes down the overflow here, and there's just a little tube that takes the overflow water through the tank, through that joint there, and then into the beginning of the sump there, and you can see it just coming in here. And so the water then gets filtered through a skimmer, or skimmed, which I think is on at the moment, but I've not adjusted the levels on it. Goes through some filter media here, which is just some sponge, and then passes through the heater and rolls down into the last sort of chamber, and then back up into the Eheim pump. So you can see that sort of circular motion where it just follows up, goes down the overflow into the sump, and then out again. So that's the flow of the filter system. And in here you've got, again, it's optional if you choose to use it, but there's some water that's routed through this, I think they call it a refugium or something along those lines, but you can put various materials in there to help filter the water as well. Now the pump works faster, pumping the water up, than the sump and the filter system can pass it through. So you have to have some of the lines from the Eheim pump, as well as going up, feed back across and then into the sump here, into the refugium, and here down into this section there, and finally back at the start of the sump. Now it may seem pointless putting all of that filtered water back through the sump again, but you know, it simply won't travel all the way through the tank fast enough, so you have to do it that way. And all of these valves have been set right so that there's no overflows or leaks caused by that. Now the system for the circulation of the water with the sequence pump here looks more complex than it is, but basically you've got two inlets for the water that get sucked through here, just get taken down through gravity. There's one on the right and one at the left hand side there, so they get taken down across, and both of them feed into the sequence pump, which then goes up and it forks here, left and up. Now when it goes up, it uses this grey pipework here, where you've got an outlet here, an outlet here, here and here, and you can see those just here on the video as I pan across there. I think that one's up there, So you've got all the water coming in from the top from the sequence pump, but also, and it's controllable by this valve, you don't have to have this particular system running, but you've got a four-way splitter there for the water, and that has a motor in it that turns around, and what it does is it alternates between the water coming out of these 4 outlets here. Now I have noticed that I'm not really getting much out of this one, and I think that it could be that the motor that's just inside here has stopped. But that said, it still pumps water and has a very good circulation caused by that. And again, that's optional. You can turn the sequence pump off and put your own power heads in. Other words just to mention, if you do buy this tank, it's obviously going to have to be dismantled completely, which I will do, but there are certain jobs that you need to be reasonably skilled at, such as this overflow here. Now when I dismantle the tank, I'm going to need to take off that joint there, and I might not be able to get it off without taking the glass, this corner glass out, by sort of cutting it along the silicon seams there and pulling it out, which means you might need to silicon seal that back in. Now I had to do this when I bought this tank second hand, and I've never done any sealing before with silicon sealant, but it was pretty easy. Obviously just put it in, seal it up, give it a test, and if you've got any leaks then put some more sealant on, but it wasn't really that bad. But the same can be said for each of these sort of joints that go through the glass. They're all going to have to be disconnected in order for me to make it ready for transport, and you will need to put all of those back in place. But they're very easy. As I said, I've not done any silicon sealant work before I bought this tank. I put it all back together and I had no leaks the first time. So that just gives you an overview of some of the tasks that you will need to do when you get it home and you start putting it all back together. Visually the tank is fine. I mean, sort of age-related issues where the moisture has got into the framework of the wood here as I scroll along, but structurally it's all still very sound. You've got a steel beam that goes across. There's one at the back as well that helps the structure of the tank, and these vertical supports I put in myself. I just felt it needed a little bit extra, and there's 2 of those at the back as well. Now here I think we might have a very small leak coming out of this joint here. This is for an auto top-up system. I never bothered to use it, so I just manually topped up the water when needed, but I think it just needs taking off and a new bit of sealant put in there, and then that will be fine. So that pretty much wraps up the story of this tank. If you've got any questions, obviously put them on the eBay listing and I'll answer them as quick as I can. You'll need a Sprinter or something along that sort of size, van-wise, to take this, because it is absolutely huge. And it's obviously going to be split up into 2 parts. Where you've got the main glass of the tank and the bottom half. But I'll take it apart as good as I can. And yeah, alright. Thank you very much. Bye.